was sitting at a board meeting for Northern Pines Mental Health up north, talking about how I felt that the police were like trigger happy, that they're so afraid to do their jobs. They don't know what they're going to walk into these days, and one of the reasons is because many of the times we're sending them to deal with mental health issues, of which they are not trained.
Right.
They are not trained to handle these calls. And this is not to say that what they do, they do what they do, just don't respond to these calls. 54% of the people that are harmed by the police are people with mental health issues, regardless of what color you are. On August 27th, I said out loud that my greatest fear as a parent of a child who was autistic was that I would get a call saying that the police had murdered my son. And I got that damn call 4 days later, you guys. 4 freaking days later. And you want to know why I said it out loud? It's because we know that police interacting with people with mental health issues is not the right thing to do, and that we know this. We have the stats, we have the facts to prove that they aren't the ones who should be responding. My son was a self-harmer. The police knew this. The shooting officers knew this. They had just responded 5 months prior to my son stabbing himself in the stomach. They knew he was a self-harmer. They knew he had autism. That day, the call came, but my son calmed down right away. So they called back and they said, everything's okay. The 911 called back again. Once again, grandfather reiterated, everything's okay. He's going to be okay. Not we're going to be okay. He's going to be okay. My grandson's going to be okay. Police showed up anyhow. And I don't know if you know this, but when there's a weapon mentioned, police who aren't even on duty show up to be a part of the action. So not only did a bunch of officers on duty show up for my 21-year-old autistic child, but other officers, a whole host of officers showed up. When they showed up, everything was fine, just like they said. Everything was fine. One of the officers said, but we gotta go in and make sure everything's fine. Well, how long does it take to figure out everything is fine? Everything was fine. They pushed through. 2 of the officers go in the house. 2 of the officers outside. The grandfather is telling them over and over that my son is autistic, that everything is fine, that he didn't have his medication currently because of freaking COVID. 12 minutes of my son sitting there, not under arrest, not having done anything wrong, and completely complying. Do you understand? I wouldn't sit there for 12 minutes calmly, because you would have no right to hold me in my own freaking house for no reason. After 12 minutes, he got up to leave. He got up to run to the front door. Tased him multiple times. And then he got up to then run to the back door. And keep in mind, the houses in Brooklyn Center are all the same. The officers know the layout of this house. They knew there was a back door where he was running. And they shot him. They shot him 6 freaking times, including in the head when he was on the ground and he was just trying to leave. My son's officers didn't get charged. They killed my baby and then nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing that I haven't been out here doing this, trying to force it. Trying to force change. Me with a lot of the people here helped get Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, where they also murdered Dante Wright, to pass the Dante Wright and Kobe Heisler Community Safety and Crime Prevention Resolution. They put myself as chair of the expanded alternative response program that they're gonna have, and they put Katie Wright as chair of the traffic stop policy. What ended up happening when that got passed in May of 2021 was they activated and they organized and they got the mayor who helped us get it passed, voted out of office. They got 2 new city council members who don't support the resolution, and then they stonewalled us every step of the way to make it so we got to the new election system. So now we're trying to implement this program with a mayor who kind of supports it and 2 new city council members who don't. He didn't do anything wrong. He crocheted. He needle pointed. He didn't even have the mentality of a 21-year-old. They saw him. He's a large boy. And he was mentally unstable. And somehow they equated that. 5 seconds before he went in and murdered my son, and this was the man who had responded to his self-harm stabbing. He looked at the grandfather and he said, "You don't understand, sir. The writing's already on the wall. The next time we come to this house, it will happen because your son has murdered you or the grandmother. How in the hell do you get to decide that that would happen with a child who has never hurt anybody in his life but himself?" We do this. We meet with people. We meet with the DOJ. We meet with these people and nothing happens. Like, we come and we do this to ourselves over and over and nothing happens. But what do I think maybe you might be able to one ask? Maybe qualified immunity needs to be gone. Qualified immunity is not fair. Any of us, and I'm an accountant, there's doctors, all these different people, we're responsible when we mess up at work. How did the police convince us that they are beyond reproach? Justice for Kobe and justice for Dante and justice for all stolen lives.